Are we all happy?
Yep.
Well, we're still looking at spells for them.
Who doesn't enjoy looking at spells?
Oh, so many spells.
Illiterate people.
So many spells.
So,
They might be pretty pictures.
Oh,
so basically, you're saying that that was a long beep.
Was it? Did it come from me?
No, that
I
was
didn't hear
on mine.
anything.
I only heard some clicking.
Yeah, clicking's all I got.
Okay, so you're not hearing the beeps from voice mod. That's terribly sad. That's going to ruin the joke.
Sorry.
Anyway. You are heading for the museum. I'll just put a little label on there.
Is it still the red box?
Yes.
Ooh,
There we go. So you're heading for the museum. And it is a marked contrast to the rest of the village. Let me just close the door so you don't have to put up with the noise of gunfire from the living room.
Tough
What's the
neighbourhood,
frogs playing?
Well, when we found out that the first time Tasha was up in Sweden, we were in a toy shop because toy shops have Lego, and I like looking at Lego.
Mm.
And we saw that they had a toy MP5, and we thought if we ever have kids, we should get them one of those. And so when we found out that she was pregnant, we went back to the toy shop and we bought the MP5. It's all about being prepared.
Obviously.
So 8 years later, that's still his favourite toy. And it's still on the original set of batteries, which is slightly
Wow.
impressive.
That's quite impressive, yeah.
I was gonna
Despite
say, that's
that
unbelievable.
quantity of gunfire. Roger that.
Yeah, I get a giant Lego surprise in a couple of weeks.
Ooh.
I've done part of an AFOL group. So you get to buy a set amount of Lego at a ridiculous price. So I've got about 8,000 Lego bricks turning up in a couple of weeks.
Is it a Millennium Falcon?
No, it's all parts to build things.
But they could be a Millennium Falcon if you wanted them to be.
No, not without that. I'd really like one. I got offered to buy the Death Star 'cause it's going out of production, but I have nowhere to put it, so I said no.
There's
I'm going to regret that in the long run.
Yeah. There's a medical channel on YouTube, Dr. Hope's Sick Notes. And during the corona thing, he's been living with his boss. So he doesn't infect his family. And his boss is an AFOL. So she's gained quite a following as a result.
Interesting.
There we go. So the museum, as you might imagine, is in surprisingly good nick. Just like the pub, it's been restored, rebuilt. It may even be a new build, but if it is, it's been rebuilt. It's been a new build in the same style as the rest of the place. It is still open until 5 o'clock.
Do we have any actual written, or do we have to say anything that the mayor gave us the permission to look at the stuff that was not on display?
The mayor is with you.
In that
She's
case, that's
essentially continuing the tour.
Yeah, I assume we need some sort of guide to actually get into the presumably
True.
locked vault.
fine. I just
Storage.
advanced to level 2. Okay. Weird. Well, I know what I'm looking for.
What are you looking for?
In theory, possibly copper lozenge. And this is not helping because I'm now sort of basically putting my hands so far apart. It's like yay high and I'm assuming copper. It's probably going to have some sort of, because there were indentations, so it's going to have some sort of what's the word I'm looking for?
Interface or
Yeah, it's that sort of, interlocking sort of Lego bits, the sort of the nodule to go into the hole, as it were. I'm assuming, because having seen the impact on the person's chest, sort of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and did you have any sort of concept of how long this thing could be?
About the
That's
size
why
of an
I'm-
A4 sheet of paper.
Right.
I was going to say that's why I'm holding up my hands. You're not looking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Turn
Yay
your
long
camera
and
on,
yay
then.
high and yay far and yay long. And... Yeah, from what you said before, A4 with the corners cut off
Yeah.
to make it the lozenge.
Yes, but I was sort of talking about the depth, how far into the door it actually went.
You can't say for certain, but the actual cavity is 5 or 6 inches deep.
Right.
So it may or may not be decorated. I mean, it may have the same cog engineering sort of look to it as the doors themselves were.
Oh,
The doors were copper,
certainly big enough to have some sort of engraving on it.
indeed, but that's not necessarily. I would have said copper was quite a soft metal, but it certainly packed a punch when it flew out at him.
I think you're probably getting confused with gold, because gold's quite soft.
I thought copper was reasonably
Copper as
soft
well.
as well.
Not as soft as gold, but it is
Yeah,
somewhat soft.
it's malleable,
Thank you. That's a better way of describing it.
but it's soft enough to shape, so it can be cold drawn into piping and stuff. But it's not, if you bonk someone on the head with a copper
Oh,
poiky,
that's true. Copper piping.
a pot.
A cauldron, a small
Yeah,
cauldron.
that's the word. If you bonk someone on the head with a copper cauldron, it's not
It's
going
gonna
to.
hurt.
They're not going to say, "Ow, what did you do that for?" They're going to say, bonk."
Ugh, thud. Aha.
So, do you ask the mayor that, or are you asking me?
I was
What?
asking the group about the size. Since I forgot.
Just remind me, please, physically, where are we right now? Are we in the museum, or are we still outside
You
the...
are now at
outside
the
it.
museum.
We're at the museum.
Queen.
Cool. Are we... We're just in the main museum, we're not in the storeroom yet, are we?
Exactly.
No.
At the moment, you're pretty much in the doorway.
I didn't think we'd all fit, but okay.
So, the mayor opens the door. It's not hugely staffed. It's the sort of museum where the person showing you around has the key to open it up. So, as you might imagine, it's not a hugely busy place.
No. Really? Gosh, I am surprised.
What kind of exhibits do we see, as we're walking through with the mayor?
As you go in, you see that the exhibits are largely technological. There's, there's some pots and pans and things that have been found in the rubble that just indicate that people have lived here in the past. For instance, most of you come in and there's a sort of double level room with walkways around the edges on the first floor. And in there you've got lots of glass cabinets with, pottery shards, plates, remnants of newspapers, all those sort of signs of life. Now gone. And so that's the first room you come into. And she starts telling you a clearly long rehearsed spiel about the history of Red Castle, as it once was, you know. So you learn some interesting stuff, but mostly it's stuff you've heard before, just giving you a summary of the history. It's almost as if she's going on autopilot rather than, trying to remember what she's told whom.
So, that's all very fascinating and everything, but you did say we could have a look at the storeroom for this missing item that we were looking for?
Yes, of course.
Would you mind pointing the way then?
She shows you into a corridor going towards the back of the museum. And there's a door marked staff only. And as you go into these sort of areas towards the back, you see more and more technology, some of which looks old to you, but depending on when it's from, was probably the height of tech. And some of it looks modern even to you. Some of it looks like you couldn't possibly guess what it would do. And when you get to this door marked staff only, and she knocks on it before immediately opening it, and inside there's a large storeroom with big shelves and workbenches and all that sort of thing. And standing at one of them is another automaton.
Okay. Yeah.
He's quite large.
I was going to say, Goliath. Huh. I like the moustache.
Wasn't expecting someone really to play a game of baseball sitting behind a desk in a museum.
It's almost as if he
along
doesn't
with the
always
anvil.
work at a desk in a museum.
No, feel it more like someone working behind a shady bar.
Breaking kneecaps for money.
Especially with the anvil.
Responding
Maybe
to
he does
questions about
blacksmithing
watering
on his
down
day
drinks.
off.
I do like the moustache, though.
I'm going to lean closer and see how the moustache is actually attached to his face.
He's facing away from you at the moment at the workbench. And the mayor turns to him.
Good evening, Bruce.
And he pauses for a moment, then turns around to you, and you see he has a moustache.
Awesome.
And he says,
How's it, Bruce?
So, this moustache, I'm gonna just lean in close and just sort of like see how it's connected to him. Like, is it a stick-on moustache?
he extends an arm and just places his hand flat on your chest to keep you at a slight distance.
Rude.
Says the person about to stare at someone's moustache from an inch's distance.
He's not a real person.
I'm
Are
a
you saying
step
that aloud,
away
or
from Aether.
asking for a friend?
No.
Stepping away from Aether. Ashton will basically eye roll at Aether and say, the mayor has very kindly said that we can look for a particular artifact that may have been brought back here. Oh gosh, what was it, about 100 and something years ago?
120, if I recall correctly.
Yes, I think 120, wasn't it?
Yeah,
He
Or was it
nods.
220?
And he starts wiping his hands clean. And you see that he's been working on something with metal and oil and stuff, and cogs and all sorts.
And I will try to sort of give an accurate description of the key, and then also context of where it came from, and ask, was anything ever brought back that resembles that?
I don't remember exactly that, but I don't think we got it in the collections here. I'll tell you what, if it came in before my tenure started, it could be in the vault up in the castle, or under the castle, I should say. But that's only if it's one of the really fun pieces.
Interesting. Okay. Would that be somewhere we could, and I'll turn to the mayor, is that somewhere we could search?
I don't see why not. I'll have to make a few checks. We've had some problems with vermin, you could say. But I'm sure we could arrange something in the morning. Have you made arrangements for accommodation overnight?
We haven't, but we do have a boat.
We do have very comfortable rooms in the hotel.
Sorry, we're all speaking at the same time then.
I think it was our original plan. We were going to sleep on the boat.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
It is the more affordable choice.
Sadly, yes. Some of us are not exactly flush with cash. But there's nothing to stop us possibly having breakfast at the hotel.
We do make an excellent breakfast.
Yeah, lots of motor oil.
Oh. Stepping away from Aether again.
Motor oil is certainly available, though we generally find that organics prefer food.
As an organic...
But you mean real people?
Ooh.
Okay, backing away.
Yeah,
Backing away.
I mean,
We could
there is
perhaps
talking
arrange
to
for you
people.
to try motor oil if you would like.
She says rather pointedly.
And there's poking the bear. There's talking to people and poking the bear.
No,
Bruce
I'm
has,
just saying that us real people just prefer real food.
Which is, I think, what the mayor was offering.
Oh yes, I was just checking.
Bruce
Making
has
sure it wasn't a system error.
Bruce has moved over to an anvil where he's assembling something out of sheets of brass, and he puts them down on the anvil, picks up a little hammer, aims at the rivets, thinks about it for a moment, then puts the hammer down, picks it up, and between his thumb and forefinger squeezes the rivet flat and glances at you.
Yep.
Then he
Hey, to
does two
pretend
more.
Not to notice or care.
We're all going to die in our sleep.
Yep. Now, there was me thinking that the pyromaniac that he walked around with was the main problem.
Oh no,
I'm-
that was just a decoy.
That
I've
was the
just
decoy,
given up
wasn't it?
alcoholism.
That
I'm
was the
doing
decoy.
it.
Aye. Can we introduce him to the possibility of learning how to water ski? I mean, we could see if we could get the boat to go quite fast and throw him overboard, still attached with something on his feet. I mean, that might be a more, I should say, a less flammable way of providing entertainment, considering you're off the alcohol.
I mean, there's an anvil.
True. Ashton will wander out,
Fame is a
muttering.
nonsense for those.
No, Ashton will thank Bruce for his time, and thank the mayor and say that certainly from her point of view, she will be back in the morning. What sort of time do they normally start serving breakfast?
About 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Oh God, there are 2 7s in the world. Okay. Some of us don't try to get there.
Mayor Cogwell.
Cogswell.
What kind of vermin were you talking about in the castle?
Nothing you need to worry about. We'll sort it out and have it nice and clear for you in the morning.
Right.
That's fine. Going to be fine. 7.
After all, why wouldn't it all be fine? It's not as if someone's being silly and picking a fight with a breaker.
I'm so going to haunt him. I shall have words with my... There are things we can do. This is all going round in Ashton's head as she walks out.
So I guess we'll thank the mayor for the tour and head to the boat.
Okay.
Following you, Captain.
Seems about right.
You get back to the boat. Would you like to bed down for a long rest?
Yeah.
Please.
Can't think of anything else to do.
Then you do so. And you go to sleep. And all is well with the world. Isn't that right?
That's dull.
I feel a butt coming along.
I know.
But, I mean, I know I'm a bit chunky, but not that bad. What are you laughing at?
Well, it's the fact that on Twitch I can see you looking at the beholder right now.
No, I'm just skimming things. I just thought, it's night time.
Okay,
Bloody look-
Ashton was being nice. It's all Aether's fault.
It's always Aether's fault.
Anyway,
Throw him under the bus.
so you're having a lovely snooze
Okay.
and a lovely sleep.
Okay.
And you start to dream. All of you, as it turns out, but of course you don't know that. And you find yourselves dreaming of mechanisms and steaming pistons and clanking gears and whirring clockwork. And those two sticks with the little spark going up them that you always have in mad scientists' lairs?
Yeah, another one's in me. Yeah.
Yeah. Something ladder, I think, but I can't remember what. And in your dream, you find yourselves sort of steady camming through endless corridors lined with mechanisms and technology and all sorts of weirdness. It's almost like being back in the museum, except it feels darker and a bit more dank without maymays. And
That's just cruel.
And so as you drift through this long dark corridor with its long dark shelves, you find yourselves plunging into an even darker corridor. And as you get to the end, glowing eyes appear in the dark in front of you.
Mother?
For Aether, it suddenly turned into a nightmare.
Aye.
And they start glowing, and you get a general impression of a surprised frown, and then everything goes black.
Oh dear.
You wake up in the morning, fairly refreshed. You've all had a slightly disconcerting dream, but it's up to you whether you found it distressing or just odd.
I think from my point of view, just odd.
Aether's just going to put it down to not having a alcoholic beverage in the last 48 hours.
From my point of view, extremely odd, since I don't really dream, being an elf and all that, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you also don't sleep, so...
Yeah, do I notice any of my
Not really, no, but close enough.
teammates looking a bit shaken?
Say again?
Do I notice any of my teammates seeming a bit shaken or disturbed from their weird dreams?
I'll let them tell you.
Definitely quieter than I would normally be. Looking a little disturbed.
Yeah, a little bit quieter, maybe. But maybe just pondering about the dream.
I seem pretty much unconcerned about it. Having chalked it down to just one of those strange trance thingies that can occur at times.
Hmm. All right.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I could really do with some breakfast. And a Bloody Mary.
So you go back to the pub for breakfast.
Yep.
What time is it? What time did you get up?
Well, I've probably been up a few hours already, due to my sleeping habits or lack thereof.
I think if Aether's coming off the wagon or getting back onto the wagon, then he'll probably be up quite early, about 5-ish,
Okay.
Definitely not then.
and just generally being grumpy at people.
I'll probably appear at about sort of 6:30ish.
So when you all head off for breakfast, you get to the pub, and Carrier's there. She greets you, shows you to a table, takes your breakfast order. What do you have?
Cup of tea and some bread and cheese.
I have. Tea sounds nice, but I'd like poached eggs, some toast, maybe a little bacon.
Okay. She wanders off, having taken all of your orders, and
Coffee, black as the human soul.
which human?
Some ex-Benedict, I think.
Who's Benedict?
Very nice gentleman.
And she wanders off.
Scrambled, bacon, crunchy. Basically, I want the classic Vimes breakfast.
She comes back with a big plate of burnt crunchy bits.
Perfect.
Happiness.
So there's sauce, there's pudding, there's bacon,
Oh, good black pudding.
there's about 6 different forms of meat on there. And they're all very similar in colour.
Only 6.
And yeah. That's about all, really. You have your breakfast. It's lovely. It's far better than you'd expect robots to cook.
Well, she's
Assuming
a drow, so, you know.
But she's been out working the bar all along.
That's true.
We don't know
Oh,
that.
quite happy.
Suppose we better get to the keep, see if they've dealt with the rodent problem.
When's May going to meet us here?
She didn't say.
That's true.
Hmm.
I will ask the young drow, whose name I'm afraid I do not remember.
Gary.
Gary?
Carry the
Strange name
one.
for a child. Oh, carry the one, yes. Add another one.
I refuse that surname.
Gary, yeah. Add another one to the list. Okay, good.
You
Carrie,
are going on my list.
you are indeed. What was your name again?
Mine.
Don't tell him, Pike.
Thank you. We're supposed to meet the mayor, but she didn't say where. May I ask where she might be?
Oh, she'll be here to pick you up at about 8:30.
Thank you. In that case, could I have another cup of tea, please?
Certainly can. Large or very large?
Large.
Righto.
Thank you.
She comes back with what is essentially a small bucket. It's full of very good tea.
I'll start dipping the cup in occasionally. quite what I expected, but okay. They obviously get some very thirsty people coming here through here.
We believe in a decent breakfast. After all, we are out in the middle of nowhere. Does you no
That
harm
is
at all
true.
to set you up proper for the day.
Indeed. Thank you.
So you continue guzzling tea and stuffing your collective faces until the mayor turns up. And she's got a sort of not quite an apron, but imagine like a coat, but open in the back rather than the front. So like an extended apron. Like a surgical gown.
That's sort of what I was trying not to think of.
Yeah, I was
Thank
having
you.
added flashbacks there.
Oh, goody.
And it's quite grubby on the front. And you see that the grubbiness stops about halfway up the sleeves. As if she's just discarded some long gloves. Probably in a bonfire.
So, good morning. Did you handle your problems? Worm problems?
Yes, they're all cleared out now. It should be safe for you to go down there. Are we all ready?
Yeah, sure.
As we'll ever be.
Then follow me, off we go.
So she guides you back to the keep. And you wander through the deserted back streets, up through the keep, through the gatehouse, and into the keep itself. Now, I believe this is the first time you've actually been inside there, isn't it?
Yes, we
Yeah,
only did
yes.
the
Walk around outside.
thank you.
As you go in, you see that just like the rest of the walls, all the pointing has been touched up to sort of stabilise the stonework, to make it nice and safe for everyone. And she guides you in to a spiral staircase going down in the northwestern corner. And it goes through the undercroft and another story straight down into a large vaulted room. It's quite dark. Make a perception check, all of you, please.
Ah, come on, right.
Followed by an intelligence check.
So, perception.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God, come on, brain.
12 and a 9 for me.
Roger that.
What was the second roll you wanted?
Intelligence.
Alright.
So I got a 24 and an 18. Not save, guys. You're supposed to roll just for your base intelligence. I suppose Hacrius would have the same result, and Garrus probably have proficiency less.
3.
Mm.
Intelligence.
Well, the Aether is completely oblivious. The rest of you, those who had the dream, find that the stonework looks a bit familiar.
Lovely ceilings they've got over here, isn't it?
The ceilings are quite impressive. They're vaulted, but they're that sort of vaulting that crosses over in the middle.
Beautiful fornications.
You notice that in... Aether, give me another perception check with advantage.
Perception. It's 19.
Okay. You notice that in one of the corners there is a small engraving in the stone where somebody, maybe a long-forgotten mason or just somebody in here getting bored, has indeed placed a decoration of the more personal type.
How big is it?
As a whole, it's maybe 4 or 5 inches.
Poor guy. No wonder he was a bit embarrassed hiding it away up there.
It's not that sort. It's more of a group picture.
Or is it more like an orgy sort of scene going on over there?
I mean, it's quite dark in here. You can't be sure.
Dark, you say? I don't have my light skill. That's the wrong character. I will loudly draw everyone's attention to it.
Okay. By what means?
Oi, guys! Has anyone tried that position before? I'm just going to point.
As you go closer, and the mayor comes along, bringing her headlights with her, you see that your initial suspicion was indeed correct.
Sorry.
My initial suspicion?
Of the nature of the image.
Not that the mayor is actually a jeep.
No.
Right.
Ashton, yes.
Mysterious, yes.
So, unusual size.
Okay.
What are you chuckling at? You sound
As you
if I
wish.
said something amusing.
Sorry, my son wandering backwards and forward.
And, yeah. So, you're wandering off to the corner to look at carved pornography. And the mayor glances at it and it just says,
Yes, there's quite a lot of graffiti down here. It has been used by generations living in the village. And of course, many of those have been soldiers and guards and youths and other rabble. So we keep them for historical reasons, but yes, organics. It does seem such a messy method, doesn't it?
Ash will sort of tilt her head and sort of go, indeed.
Yeah, it's always fun to make a mess.
Ashton you should see him on the inside. I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Open them up, it's much worse. Well, dependent on level. Anyway, no,
You know what the
workshop.
Okay,
you know
she...
what the total temperature of a tauntaun is? It's lukewarm.
Mm.
Oh. Okay, I now can start a new list.
Yay! I'm not top of the list anymore.
Oh yes,
Oh,
you
no.
are.
You have most. Don't you worry.
It depends on what list you're talking about, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um,
Shall we continue?
Yeah.
the mayor indicates another staircase.
Down, I'm assuming.
Now,
Down,
when you say
down,
she indicates,
down,
is there like
down,
a flashing
down.
red light to the right or to the left?
Say again.
When you say she indicates, is there like a flashing red light to the right of her eye or to the left?
It's more of a trafficator. Through the medium of arms.
It could be dangerous on the road.
I mean, I'm not saying she's hiling left and right.
But now I can't get that image of my Turn left at the third right!
The wing mirrors will last for 1,000 years!
Well,
yeah, deeply unfortunate people. Yes, she gestures to another staircase going down. And invites you to follow it. Really?
I do so.
Yeah,
Good.
I think we all do. Or?
You go down the stairs, and you find yourselves in a sort of long gallery. And
does this feel familiar again?
it feels familiar. You can't quite put your finger on why. But it's maybe 8 meters wide. It goes on quite a long way into the darkness. And you see that somebody's been there earlier during the day and put up some lanterns. It is.
I will thank the mayor for her courtesy. Lanterns are useful for those of people who have problem in the dark.
Well, we do our best. We don't have permanent lighting down here, but
Yeah,
we don't often have visitors down here.
So yeah, the lanterns as they are really just help you see the darkness slightly better.
Lovely.
Well, that's really just a problem for Aether. The rest of us can see in the dark.
Indeed. And along both sides of this gallery, it goes, as I say, quite a long way. You can't really tell, at least 100 meters, maybe more. And as you walk along, you feel that you're on something of an incline, going downwards. And as you walk, you see pedestals all along the sides, with glinting things of brass and whatnot on the top of them.
Interesting.
I'm actually going to use my hand port to just sort of provide an extra bit of lighting in front of me as we walk.
Okay. You do so. And thanks to that, you failed to trip over your shoelaces.
Phew.
Incidentally, one of your shoelaces is untied.
I stopped to tie it.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Really? If I fail this, I accidentally tie my hand into my boot.
We'll see.
Don't give him ideas.
You successfully tie your shoelace in a
Huzzah!
solid double knot. It will not come untied on its own.
Huzzah!
I'm so glad I have buttoned shoes since I don't have sleight of hand.
Are you wearing flip-flops?
Am I what?
Are you wearing flip-flops?
No, I have buttoned shoes. Sort of dress shoes, but with a button thingy cover.
Basically, Mike, buttons are like medieval Velcro.
Wait, what's Velcro?
Here we have the outer gallery. Down here is a chapel of sorts.
Chapel.
You see, back in the day, this was a chapel to... I'm afraid we're not very well up on the theology, but it's a chapel to a local deity of sorts named Isembard. And you've seen the medallion, of course, that you showed me. And those medallions were worn by the scouts of the church that dwelt here. They would go out into the world, bring back whatever technology they found, and they would bring it back to the artisans of Red Castle. And those artisans would then take those artifacts, improve them, reverse engineer them, learn from them, and over time outdo them in every way. And it was said that whatever artifacts were gathered here would be brought into these tunnels as a tribute to Isembard, and then Isembard would appear and grant the artisans knowledge. In fact, some even suggest that we were created by Isembard. I know, the amusing myths and legends of the organics. You people really can be very endearing sometimes.
I am fighting the temptation to say something.
Say it.
Nope,
Say
nope,
it.
nope, I'm winning.
Say it.
Get thee behind me, Satan.
I'm in front of you.
Nope, not saying. I mean, I'm assuming that none of the artifacts or items that we're going past resembles a lozenge-shaped thing.
It does not. These all look fairly innocuous. Stuff that you would recognise as being last century's technology.
Right.
So, DM, I'm going to look at the floor.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Can I just, while you talk, can I have an intelligence roll from all of you?
Oh, is this flat intelligence again?
Yes. Unless you want to make a history roll, you can do if you like.
Or history.
Yeah.
Well, then you can add 7 to my intelligence, so 26.
Okay.
Woohoo! I can't come close to that.
It's not a weakness for me.
Yeah, Thaddeus, it occurs to you that last century's technology was about 150 years ahead of when Red Castle was demolished. Thaddeus, Aether, you were saying?
I want to look at the floor. Is it particularly dusty where we are, or mouldy, or anything like on the floor other than just stones, essentially?
It has been recently cleaned.
Recently cleaned, you say?
Well, you assume so. It's
Essentially, what
It's
I'm trying
clean.
to see is trying to see if there's, say, footprints from anything other than the automatons.
stone flagstones,
Right.
and there's no dust. It looks as if it's been swept, certainly within the last week or two.
Can I hear any water dripping, like anything like damp?
Make an investigation check.
19.
You hear no dripping here.
Mayor, there was a rodent problem down here.
Oh, they definitely took care of that.
I'm wondering why would there have been rodents to start with? Because there doesn't seem to be anything for them to drink, eat, or be gravitated towards down here. Unless you're not telling us something.
No, they mostly infest the undercroft. We suspect they use it as a base of operations to roam out into the city.
Right.
Base of operations. That's a curious way of describing
Yes.
rats.
Even large ones
No,
of unusual
I've just
size.
rolled a 24 on insight. Is the mayor bullshitting us about the rodents?
Oh, no.
You see no indication that she's lying about the rodents.
Well, she didn't say what kind.
True enough.
Yeah.
Just very subtly, I'm going to withdraw one of my pistols and then have it in my hand in my pocket.
Okay.
Just to see if I understood you correctly regarding the technology.
Yes.
My impression was that the technology we can actually see around here is 150 years old, but if it belonged to Red Castle, it would be another 100 years. Is that correct?
Other way around. It's from last century, so a good 100 years old. But you are aware that anything that's in here would be from at least 150 years before that.
Right.
Now let me just check something. Really good. Right. She continues walking along the corridor ahead of you.
Aether's just going to walk, say, with a gap of one person in between. So, like, someone else will walk in front of him, then Aether. Just because he's a bit suspicious.
Mm. And then what?
We're just following.
Okay.
Well, I think we've got answers.
A minute or two later, you reach the end of the corridor.
Let's just get that switched off. And you find yourselves at a pair of large doors. She draws a key from her coat and unlocks the doors and swings them open. And reaches in and presses something on the wall. And lights come up in this large circular chamber ahead of you. There's a...
It's a very useful spell.
What spell?
Oh, my apologies, it was a mechanism.
Yes. You mean the lighting? Yes, it's been here. It took us a long time to figure out what it was and how to make it work, but it's all working rather nicely now. This is, we believe, the main cult chamber. Have you heard I wonder of... Clicky buttons make work.
Sorry, if nothing makes work.
Yes. Have you heard of the people of the island of Pendolin?
No.
No.
Pendolin.
Pendolin.
Have you heard of them?
It's in the
Before?
southern oceans. And when they first saw explorers, I believe the first ones were from Pelsbar, I'm afraid. They saw the vessels they came in, and they saw what they brought and offloaded and reloaded with crates and sacks and so on. And so they started making crates out of wood and sacks out of stone and leaves and placing them on the beaches to attract these vessels.
I was thinking that.
And we suspect that much of this that they credited to Isembard, we suspect was essentially just their own ingenuity and natural engineering aptitude. But they brought their things here and placed them in this chamber, presumably for evaluation and assessment and worship, and whatever they did with them, of course. We can't say for certain what they did or how they did it. But that's our current thinking anyway.
Well, I will start working my way around. What am I looking at? Benches? Am I looking at crates? Am I looking at tables? What am I looking at?
There are marble benches in a circle around the edge of the room, about 4 or 5 meters in from the edge.
Right.
Within that, there's a ring of columns holding up the centre of the ceiling. As you start going around, she presses another button and uplighters come up around the edge of the room, embedded in the floor, illuminating more plinths with what you suspect are probably more valuable things.
Well, I'll go to the right, because why not? And just start
Put your hands on
working
your
my way
hips.
through. See what whether anything matches what. Sadly, I'm having to reverse engineer from a what's the word I'm looking for? An image point of view, because it's just more the case of what the doors looked like, the shape in the corpse, and the shape in the door.
Yeah, you kind of know the area around the object, but not the object itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm assuming copper. I don't know.
I'm tagging along with Ashton.
Okay.
yeah, likewise.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
you would
So we'll go the
estimate
same way.
that there's about 20 plinths around the perimeter. So if we say number 1 is just to the right of the door, going along to number 10 directly opposite, and number 20 directly there, and you're going to the right, you said.
I was going to the right. It's arbitrary, but yeah. I'm right-handed. I will turn to the right.
Okay.
I'll
I'll
take
start
from
from the
the left.
exact opposite on like number 20 if she's going for number 1. But
Roger that. So, you continue around the room, and these things are fascinating. They're clearly ancient, hundreds of years old. Some things look even 1,000 years old, maybe older.
Wow.
One moment.
Excuse me.
And there's some things that look like modern technology that you would expect to find in a new build vessel or in a modern factory. There's also some things you don't recognize at all. There's things with weird lenses and tubes and wires and all sorts of stuff.
Nothing lozenge shaped.
Nope.
Where the heck did that, whoever it was that was with him, took it then?
Now, Aether, you're carrying on along the left side.
yes, I am.
Have you checked your message?
Just a bit. Guys, Ashton.
Hmm?
Do you want to come over here?
I'm not finding anything at the moment, so I will wander over to where Aether is.
I haven't picked it up yet, but I'll sort of direct your attention to what's directly in front of me. Do you think this is it?
On the plinth by Aether, there is a brass mechanism with a sort of generally octagonal shape, like a sheet of A4 paper with the corners cut off. It looks like it's about 4 inches deep. The front plate is slightly wider, with a few wheels set into it with markings on them. There are scenes of nature chased into the front plate, and a keyhole.
Keyhole as well.
If you look on the sides, there are a couple of circular bits that look as if they probably poke out, and there are a couple of apertures that look as if something pokes into them. On the back of it, you find 4 studs, one at each corner.
Which would line up with the 4 holes that were in the recess.
Yes, one of them, 3 of them are about half an inch long, the 4th one about an inch.
Well, this does appear to fit my memory of the aperture, and it certainly looks. I mean, I'm not going to touch, but I will lean in a little closer. Does it look as if there is any discoloration on what is the the sort of the front of it?
Make an investigation check.
Oh, make an investigation. Oh, investigation. Investigation +3.
Before anyone picks it up anywhere, I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
18.
It is completely mundane.
Okay, so
18, you
there's
said.
18. Yes, I did.
You see no discoloration.
No obvious old blood. No.
No. But
No,
it
okay.
does look as if it has been at some point polished to within an inch of its life. And then
Honestly, cleaning people, really. God.
So I turned to the mayor and asked if she knows what the object is.
we're not entirely sure. We believe it may be a lock of some form, possibly a coded lock, possibly some form of encryption device. It's very difficult to say with just this part of the mechanism. We believe it came from a scouting party that went south towards where Froghampton... Is Froghampton still where it used to be?
Yes, indeed.
Good. I went there once to procure supplies. Very pleasant place. Yes. And we believe it could possibly have come off a ship. If you look at the engravings there, there's possibly a kelp forest, and at the bottom corner there, that could be a whale.
Does the markings actually look like that, or is it just squibbles?
Very good question.
It's professionally chased. So it's far from scribbles. It's some engraver who's been paid a lot of money to do it. The kelp forests, to be perfectly honest, are a bit of a stretch. But the whale, almost certainly an actual whale. Or just a fish.
The only thing that's worrying me is that I was expecting to see a continuation of the cogwheel engineering what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, an additional lock to put on the closed door seems a bit counterintuitive.
They
really didn't want that door open, did they?
They didn't, no, which I'm afraid just piques my curiosity into overdrive.
So DM, you said it was a keyhole in it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'll look around the room to see if I see any key that could possibly fit into that hole.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Damn.
I think that probably succeeds.
Well, you search the rest of the room. At the directly opposite the entrance, there's a door carved into the stone, or looks as if it's carved into the stone. Rationally, of course, you know that it's probably, a separate piece. And it's flanked by a couple of suits of armour, and it's all very grand. And you don't find a key. But next to this large, wide stone door, you find a, what do you call it? Like a little satchel.
All right. I'll open it and see what if there's something inside.
As you pick it up, you realise it's heavier than you would expect for a little leather satchel of that size. And as you open it, you realise that that's because it's been lined with... it's got two compartments inside. One that just contains, a couple of gold coins and a medallion like you've already seen. But the slightly large compartment is lined with sort of 3mm thick lead plates.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Nothing inside that compartment.
Nothing inside it now.
No. So I'll ask the mayor if she knows what this satchel has been used for.
We don't actually know. It's been lying there for as long as I can remember. We left it in case it was placed as a ceremonial offering or something. But it's very hard to tell with these. Yes, Mr. Colvin.
Aethers is going to sort of wander over to it. He's going to pick up the tablet thingy.
Tablet?
The nodule or whatever it was we're looking at, the lock thing with the whales and possibly not kelp forests. And says, well, based on some of the investigations I've done, I can probably answer that for you. You see, thieves who like to steal magical artifacts like to keep the bags lead lined so that those with scrying eyes cannot find or see what's inside. And I'm gonna take the key piece to see if it actually fits into the bag itself.
It is slightly too large for this satchel.
So, as an example, something like this, if the bag is maybe slightly bigger, you can fit it inside, go on your merry way, and unless someone actually stops and searches your bag, no one knows what's in it.
That is a fascinating and very believable theory. That's because we found satchels like this in other places in the town, some larger, some smaller. And in fact, now that you mention it, we have got a few in the museum. I'll show you next time we're up there. That are very small and appear to be designed with a leg strap and some that we suspect are intended to be worn internally.
That sounds uncomfortable.
Ouch.
I have no doubt that they would be. So yes, if they are intended as such, then that would certainly explain a thing or two.
See, it's not all about technology.
So what do you do?
Well, from Ashton's point of view, she will be asking, would it be possible to take this back to the double doors and see whether it is actually the mechanism that would open them?
Well, normally, of course, it would be completely out of the question. This site is, as I'm sure you understand, of considerable archaeological significance. But under the the circumstances, given what you've described, I think we could probably arrange it. We could see it as a field trip of sorts. I can send someone to accompany you.
I was going to suggest, why doesn't yourself or Butch join us? Bruce, there we go. He's Australian now.
Well, he did say Bruce. I think.
Yes, his name's Bruce.
Well, why don't one of you join us? That way, you know, if things go wrong, at least you'll get it back.
Yes, it's not like this is something I want to keep. It's certainly not within my remit of I'm just curious to find out what is on the other side of the doors, and the fact that they were unable to open it the first time, I'm afraid does pique my curiosity somewhat.
I think you might be overlooking the fact that it actually has a keyhole in it.
Well, there is that as well.
If we suppose that whoever was killed down there actually arrived with this piece but didn't have the proper key, that could have been what got him killed.
Possible, but the reason I think that he was killed because he actually removed it from the door are the scratches on his fingernails. Because it wasn't that he was trying to get out.
Let's just say I have a few ways with locks.
Well, so do I.
There we go. And you know my final solution, if it doesn't work, shoot it.
Well, no. Oh dear.
I shall await outside the chamber whilst you muck about that.
You won't be the only one. But if this is amenable to yourself, Mayor, then by all means, if either yourself or Bruce or another person that you would consider appropriate to return with us to the Abbey, I would be happy for the person to then bring it back. It's not something that I'm looking to keep. I am merely curious to see what is on the other side of those doors.
Yes, well, Bruce stays here, but when we go out to the outside world, it's usually Abigail who does that, so I'm sure she'll be delighted to go out and see the sights again.
Out of curiosity, how many of you are there?
I think they said she said 17.
Yes.
Huh.
I do listen.
Not all of us automata, of course.
No, there are 17 people within the environs of what is Crimsonkeep now.
Correct. Of those, 12 of us are automata. I believe the dwarves call us Warforged. They're welcome too,
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, I think I can remember you saying that last time.
Is there anything else you would like to see before we go back up?
Well, there's a keyhole in this thing. Do you have any keys that might fit?
Interesting.
Did that crank
Hello?
it too low to be audible? Hang on, let's see.
There was a lot of strange sort of whooshing sounding then, but...
Let's see, I'll just check. Yeah. Yeah, that would make it too hard to hear. Let's see if this one works.
Oh! Ow.
Is that what we hear?
That definition was completely incomprehensible.
Orders.
Yeah, not working.
No. The first one sounded like somebody clearing their throat through a pipe. I've no idea what that one sounded like.
Well, the last one was completely without the voice change. That was just me.
Right. I worry about you sometimes.
I don't. I've given up.
A smoking habit.
Say again.
Oh, yes. Something about a smoking habit, that was all I caught.
I put it.
Smoking habit.
Ah.
I have a 400 a day smirking habit.
I can go down here if I need to.
Was it Intruder?
Yes, it was.
I'm gonna
Maya?
turn around and see where that came from.
The suits of armour have stepped off their plinths.
Ah.
Uh-oh.
Maya?
Maya.
The mayor is looking at the suits of armour in astonishment.
Wait, can robots show astonishment?
Apparently.
Apparently so.
I'm going to slip the tablet into my trenchcoat pocket with one hand, and I'm going to pull out my gun.
How big is your trenchcoat pocket?
Big
Dude,
enough,
you know my
apparently.
character, you see.
I mean, I know how large mine are, but you know.
Has he got a coat of holding?
Whom are the suits of armor looking at, if any?
They're looking at Aether.
Yeah, fuck.
Aether, was that? They're calling him the intruder. Is that because he has not only the
Replace
Garrosh was looking at, but also
I'm not
the
holding the
lozenge?
capsule, I was just
You
totally
put the
using it.
lozenge
Will have that.
Yeah, I've got the lozenge.
Replace
in.
the artifact.
That doesn't quite come through. It cuts
No,
away
it's-
awfully when you try to do
Yeah.
that.
It's sort of thief flat is what it sounded like.
Oh, you got that much.
Well, I have weird ears.
Replace the artifact.
I think it might be better to try it without the voice modulator because it's breaking up the.
Yeah,
it does- it does.
I
The
switched
bass is
to
too low.
I switched to speaking with the voice modulator, but without dropping my own voice.
No, I think the
Still
voice
work.
modulator itself is causing the problem because it's making a cut.
The bass was so low it was cutting out on bits.
How about if I do this?
That's
That's
better. I
better.
can understand that.
Replace the artifact.
Oh, replace the artifact.
They draw
Ah,
their
okay.
swords.
Who's closest to the door? To
Which
exit?
door?
Which door? We have two. We have the
The
door
one
that
we
they're
came
in
in
front
through.
of. The one we came in through.
Are they blocking the entrance to the one we came in through?
No, they were far
Are you
side
going to
rail.
look back at the... They were on the doors facing away from the entrance. Are you going to look back at the entrance?
I will give a glance back.
Two more suits of armour have
Oh, joy.
stepped in front and crossed their halberds in front of the door.
Fantastic.
Okay. I suggest we put it back.
Roll
Yeah,
for initiative.
Undo everything we've done.
Too late. Roll for initiative. In it. Oh, 2. Okay.
We haven't done combat in so long, I can't find the fucking thing.
Initiative.
Oh, I'm
Spell
gonna have-
initiative. That's close enough.
I'm going to have to look up animated armour now, aren't I?
Not necessarily. We could just sort of unplug them and leave. It's fine.
Yes, as they step forward, you see a wire trailing from behind them. And then the tea lady treads on the 3-pin plug in the wall.
That is awesome.
That would be hilarious, though. The armour strides towards you until they get beyond the reach of their power cables.
And they just sort of pull themselves out the wall and just clap.
Replace the yard.
So,
You've got 4 initiatives there at the moment.
I can't find it.
It's in the middle of
Click on the initiative
page,
thing itself, right under where it says advantage, normal, disadvantage.
between armor class and speed.
Yeah.
I'm just going to drag you onto the board so I can set up the timer. It's interesting to start getting combat involved now, isn't it?
I've been waiting for it. Kind of a little bit annoyed because I got rid of all my combat effective spells, but
Why did you do that, silly person?
because the DM kept taking us away from combat.
And he lulled you into that false sense of security, didn't he?
I don't quite get this concept of combat effective spells. I only have 2 and one is a cantrip.
Yeah.
I don't work like that.
The one I use the most in combat only works really on humanoids because it makes them go to sleep.
Yeah, this could be a bit more difficult.
Well, true enough, I actually have a 2nd level combatish spell as well, but I haven't memorized that one.
No.
And I think the mayor might have objected to me using that anyhow.
Yes.
Let's see, and Garros had...
Great. What did I actually have going?
Garros had 20.14.
Oh, excuse me. I do apologise.
They really don't
Oh, good,
have
I do have
a
that one going.
helpful
That's helpful.
We should have dragged out our tokens prior to, because if we actually mark our tokens and roll our initiative, we will auto-populate the turn order. Could actually do like this.
Do you know you actually spoke words there and I understood none of them?
I'm to do markers.
Stand still.
Yeah. Select your token on the map and then roll for initiative.
Oh, there we go.
My...
And since you don't roll through roll 20,
I can if I need to.
Right.
I can if I need to.
So you actually need to
normally.
You actually need to highlight, click on your token on the board to actually have it, so you did see the.
Which is what I'm trying to do.
So that you actually have the cogwheel and all the different bits and bobs around it.
My icon is huge and it's not doing anything.
I think I've done it right there. Had it like highlighted and then rolled initiative.
Yeah.
And I've got you all in the list.
Ah, cool. There it is.
And then you can just click your own initiative and change it to what you rolled the first time around.
Lovely.
So, which is mine? Or am I not on there?
Yours is the 19.
It should be...
No, wait, it's Hackrius.
Yeah.
No, you aren't on it.
No. As I said, I can't highlight my character.
If you click your token, you should see 5 bubbles around it.
Nope.
Let's make sure that you've actually got access to it, which you should have. We never know.
I can draw a box around it.
No, but if you just click it, you will get. If you click it, you will have 3 circles above it and 2 below it. That's how you know it's actually yours.
Yeah, you've got control of it.
Go to the arrow symbol, and you should get a menu.
So select. Move or
select
can
move.
you?
If that's the problem at the moment.
I am clicking on my character. I get nothing. Select move is greyed out, so is pan view.
They aren't
fact-
really, but it looks like it.
Well, it's
It's
not
ju-
letting me do
it's
anything.
Just a
Well, let's try this then.
color.
So select move. Ah, finally. Who did what then?
I did things.
Ah. So
Because even
what
though
do you
I
want me to
dragged
go
it
do?
out there from the character sheet list, it didn't actually link it to you.
Ah. So now you want me to do roll initiative or change the initiative?
Roll initiative first from your character sheet.
Okay. So no. How do I put it into the turn order?
If you just click your icon and then press the initiative on your Roll20 character sheet, you
Gotcha.
have to populate the turn order.
Initiative. Cool.
There we go.
And can I change that now to what I actually rolled?
Yes, just click the 15 and you should be able to change it. And put 7.15 just to get the exact turn order.
Okay.
Since both you and Hacrius have 17, but you have higher dex, so you go before him.
Gotcha.
There we go.
And let's get Aether in there.
Oh my god, Aether, you're huge.
Too easy a joke to make there, sorry.
I know.
Aether, you're a hurricane.
Change your name to Isaias.
In the eye of the hurricane. Right. There we go. Now as soon as I click Save Changes, you should be able to roll for initiative there.
And I guess you had to reroll once again, since you had the wrong token before.
Yeah.
Since the token was removed, your initiative order was removed as well.
That's nae bother. That'll work. And where did Hacrius go?
What do you mean?
Wow, Roll20 is being sluggish today. There's Hacrius. Excellent. He'd fallen off the screen.
Aye.
Right. And let's give that one a name so it'll show up in the list.
That seems to work
We're
for
still
mine.
waiting for Aether to re-roll his initiative on his
I
new
did,
token.
didn't I?
Yes,
Yeah,
but since Torak changed your token, you need to re-roll again.
Oh, do I? Sorry, I didn't realise that it happened.
It's wonky like that.
Where the fuck is my customer? You make him too small, didn't you?
It's right below you are here.
I've got it, yeah.
Oh, and there's Garros. He's off playing in the fields.
Yes.
Actually, let's make all of you go off and play in the fields.
Nah,
Aye.
you can't catch me.
And Aether, change your 9 to your previous 16 as well.
I can't. Oh wait, I can't. Sorry, sorry, I was clicking the wrong one. No wonder I couldn't change. I was trying to change characters.
Yes, doesn't work like that. May own change your own.
Sounds.
There we go.
And actually, Garrus, you should have 20.14 as you rolled the first time around.
Okay. Now let's see.
Just click your token in the turn order and you can change it.
Yep.
Cargo.
So sluggish, why is it getting tired?
Now everyone has their first roll.
Right, do we all have initiative values now?
Yes.
Apparently so.
Excellent. And we have a turn order.
Which is not sorted yet, so sort it, please.
Oh, there it is.
Nice.
Why the hell couldn't I see that before? Close to the
So,
corner.
Thaddeus!
Yes. I cast Mage Armor and do nothing else.
Okay,
Because I'm mostly confused.
make it happen.
But I feel that this could be a dangerous situation. So I'm
Also,
standing still.
Ashton, it looks like you haven't updated your maximum hit points. Because you're currently showing 46 out of 37 HP.
Oh, dear. Better?
There we go. So Thaddeus has cast Mage Armor upon himself.
Yes.
Garros, what do you do?
So how far back in the room am I?
You tell me, where were
Do we
you?
have a room?
We don't have a map, no.
Ah, this was the map that you'd said we were not. Yeah.
Yes.
Supposedly, I say that Aether and Garros are probably a bit too close for comfort to the first two ones that moved. You were standing
Right. Yeah.
somewhere over
Yeah.
towards them when they started moving.
Oh, I'm trying to get away from them. To get a little bit distance between us. And draw my revolver.
Okay.
And I don't know if I have any more moves to make.
Well, that's a movement and a bonus action, so you still have an action.
So you can still fire or cast a spell or whatever.
Well,
I knew I had colour in this.
I think I'll fire them at the closest one.
Okay. Make your hit roll.
Oh dear. You just click on your revolver in attacks and spellcasting to do that.
Let's see.
Now, on the sort of sketch map there are actually gaps between the benches and the columns. But as I say, it's a sketch. Okay, that's a hit.
We have a sketch.
On the map just southeast of you.
In the fields.
Hang on. I hadn't appreciated that we'd...
Probably standing thereabouts, I suppose.
let me think.
Oh, does that mean there's 8 of these armor suits? Oh boy.
If that's a hit, Garrison, just click where it says service roller on your roll and you actually get your damage. So in the chat window,
Yeah.
click the service roll with text. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, you can place yourselves out So I know where you were. Now, Aether, you were about here, weren't you? Given that you just picked things up.
Yeah. I mean, Garros would have been next to me because we were looking at the satchel. And I think the May would probably be there as well, near us.
Yeah, she is. So it's up to Garrus to move wherever he moved before firing.
Maybe. Okay, I can move. Maybe somewhere here.
Okay. So you shot at which one?
The closest one.
Okay, so that one there. It is slightly unfortunate that I can't just duplicate them without them being connected, but we'll just have to keep track. So next up, Ashton.
Yeah. I'm going to attempt command. I don't know whether it's going to work on something that is a mechanism. But basically, at the moment I'm looking at the two that are next to Aether. And who's that in front of me? Who's in front of me?
I think
is
that's
Mayor Cogswell.
No, that's the mayor.
Is that the mayor? Because I thought that's Hacrius, and that's Thaddeus, and that's Garros, and that's Aether. So that's got to be the mayor. So I'm behind the mayor at the moment.
Yes.
So basically, I'm looking at the two in front and basically going, stop. Because it's a single word command.
Mm.
And I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not mechanical enough to give anything more erudite than stop. Good as it gets! Wisdom 16. I don't know whether they have that.
Yeah, they've got
but
to make
I
a
can't
wisdom
tell-
save, but the NPC
Yeah,
thing doesn't have a save.
I don't know whether it's... I've tried desperately to sort of find...
That'll do.
It's 60 feet, but it doesn't say whether it's single... I'm assuming it's a single thing, single person, so I'm assuming I'm not doing...
would say an area or all within reach or something like that. It doesn't say
Yeah.
it's single target.
Yeah, one round, D.
Niklas, can you remind me how to reach the saving throws from the wisdom value?
What?
They've
Well,
got to succeed on a wisdom save.
Yes, and if that was your actual roll, you rolled a impressive 2 and 3 with a -4 modifier.
Yes.
Which could be quite correct if they don't have, because if an NPC doesn't have any stats for it, that means they don't have any particular proficiency. Then just use the base stat.
Then the base wisdom roll.
A creature.
Yes.
Marvelous.
Which means they failed truly spectacularly.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. And which one was it you were talking to?
Well, it would be presumably the one straight ahead of me. So
Actually,
the one
to be
that's in front
honest,
of-
with that roll, I'm going to say that both of these two are affected.
Ooh, I see what you mean. Ouch.
And they pause.
So this duration is a round.
And there's a rusty creak as they each turn their heads to look at each other.
Around 6 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll hold for 6 seconds, guys. Woo!
Yes. Pretty much everyone gets a turn, but then they get to move again.
Yes.
Okay.
I love some of the ones that the typical commands that they give as examples. Grovel.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's fun.
Always useful.
Now,
move back
Hacrius.
and bonus action. No.
What does Hacrius
Action
want
has
to
more to do if
do?
you want to.
Yeah.
A move action and a bonus action.
Yes.
Definite move, because so I will move to there. Feels a little less. So I don't know what the
Insecure.
mayor's going to do. Bonus. So
Bonus depends if you actually have anything to do. It's not
Yeah.
every class and character has
I-
anything to do.
Yeah, I think I do. It's more a case of trying to find out what I can do. That's what I need to click on.
Well, typically you can use it to perhaps cast a spell, but you have already cast one, which means that you are out of spells for this turn.
I can do a bonus action of Shield of Faith.
No, because
But,
you have
oh no, that's a
cast
first
spell.
level. My apologies.
You may only cast one spell
Yeah, or a
in a
cantrip.
turn. Yes, you can cast a cantrip and a spell as a bonus action, but you can't cast two
The other way
spells.
around.
Or the other way around.
So basically, no. There's not a great deal I can do. So no, it is step back and keep my fingers crossed. You got a little bit of time for the two in front of you.
Hacrius.
Draw my weapons first of all.
A promising start.
Yep. I might as well use Guiding Bolt. Probably does the most damage. I'll target the one nearest myself.
Okay. So
we go on
that's
this one.
this one.
Yep.
$14 to attack.
Goody good.
So you need to roll damage now.
Yep.
It's level 1, isn't it? I don't have level 2 spell slots.
If you don't say anything, it's always on the spells
Ah.
level. You have you should tell if you want to upcast before actually rolling.
Okay.
That's a nice bit of damage.
Cool.
Yeah. It takes 18 points of damage. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to
The radiant variety, if that matters, you never know.
I'm going to be a bit sneaky and just see if I can.
He's muttering to himself,
Right.
guys. I'm not totally sure about
I just do that
that.
sometimes.
Have we driven the DM mad?
No, that was.
I started out that way.
That's not what the elephant said.
I talk to the trees. That's why they
That's
put
why
me
they put you
away.
away.
Ragged idiot.
I must go down to the sea again, to the lonely sea on the sky. I left my western socks there. I wonder if they're dry. Ah, good old Spike.
There we go. When in doubt, cheat.
Indeed.
Okay.
So, Hacrius, anything else? Or are you done with
If I've got some spare
okay.
movement, I'll probably move back towards the others.
Yes, you have a full move, so you can move. I don't know how fast you are. 20, 25? Should be. quite efficient.
Yeah, I've got a
And
walking speed of 30. That's okay.
the next attack roll against that target, by the way, has advantage.
Guiding bolt up the butt.
Yes, that is true.
So, Aether.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
It is.
Alright, well, quite simply, So it's this one that has advantage on, does it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are 2 columns between you and it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And these 2 have been told to stand still.
Yes.
Which they will until my turn.
This one here,
Mm-hmm.
I plan on making very closely acquainted with my sawn or shotgun.
Okay.
Oh!
Righty.
Make it the bangy bangy roll.
He did it. The
Think he did.
Bang bangy.
And he did 16 piercing.
That was a really nice damage roll.
Thank you. And then, I am going to pull myself back about, what's my maximum distance? 30 feet, isn't it?
30
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
I'll
we
pull
could
myself back
pretend
into
that
the-
this map is into an accurate scale.
I'll pull myself back, say that's about 30 feet there, to the corner. So basically, I just want to keep distance from them, but distance from them, just more distance from them.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the end of my turn.
Okay. Mayor Cogswell. Well, the mayor is slightly flummoxed. She's not used to the artifacts coming to life and drawing swords at her. Or people she accompanies. So, when Roll20 feels like being accommodating, it's having a nice little think.
Aether, your sawn off shotgun has completely wrong stats. Yes.
150 foot.
Yes.
Is it the
Bloody
damage
hell.
that's wrong on it?
It's everything is wrong.
Oops.
Range and damage is wrong.
150 foot for a sword off.
Yes, it has 1030.
Damn.
1050.
The range is 10/30.
Ah, right.
I don't think I ever actually
Right,
picked
that
a
now.
firearm.
And I mean, all firearms are on the Google Drives I have shared.
Yeah.
Since
I'll
I
have
made them from scratch.
to have a look. I'll have to have a look and pick one.
Modify them. So sawn off shotgun does 3d4 piercing damage on close range and 2d4 on long range. So you actually need to make 2 separate attacks for it.
Hold on, so there was 3d4.
3d4 and 10-foot range.
Yeah.
3d4 isn't a lot for a close-range shotgun blast.
No, you might feel free to alter that if you
I think I probably will, yeah.
What's
Chances
the
are I'll
deal?
change it to a couple of different ones, one for double aught, one for birdshot, and so on.
Yes, I didn't want to go into that kind of detail when I made my list.
I do, I like detail.
You forget who you're talking to there.
Granular gaming! Anyway.
I'm all for granular gaming, but D&D isn't granular, so it's
It is if you play your cards right.
it's a balance thingy. That's why I have been a bit modest in the damages. But the sawn off shotgun does 1 less damage on long range, but doesn't give disadvantage due to it being more spread out. Which is the reasoning behind the thingamadoo. But I mean,
I'll wait for Andrew to get back to me on rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep it that way for now. And then for next turn, you can use the current official stats, and then Nicholas and I will have a sit down and
tweak.
nerd out the gun stats. Right.
That sounds like a conversation I can't wait to not be a part of.
Well, this at your own peril and all that.
So Mayor Cogswell, who's been just standing there and missed much of the first round, finally processes that the furniture is no longer just furniture. And she draws what you assumed was just a staff of office. And you now realise is a two-handed warhammer.
Go.
And she is going to aim it at this suit of armour. And that misses.
In all fairness, 3d12 is almost exactly the same as 3d4.
Is a d12.
The same as like 1d12, yeah.
Mm.
The reason that number's high is obviously I've rolled a crit.
Actually, given that they'd been ordered to stand still and not do anything, I'm going to say that that hits. Sod it. Yeah. So she clouts that one. And we move on to the animated armour. These two are standing still and not doing anything. And in fact, one of them has a rather dented helmet.
Go, Mayor. Go, Mayor. Go, Mayor.
I'm assuming there is something hilarious going on in Mike's head now. The armour...
No, he's gone very quiet.
Yes. That's to avoid choking on the giggles, I would imagine. Now, over by the entrance, this suit of armour stomps in.
Taking his box with him.
Still surrounded by his little targeting glow. And this stomps in as well. And that's as far as they get. They're slow, they've got halberds. They're not a danger to you right now, but they will be next turn. Thaddeus.
Well, since we're apparently fine with destroying the antiques in this place, I'll guess I'll commence doing that, just to avoid getting any untoward damage to myself. So I'll actually fire off a third level ice knife against the glowy person Madoo.
Okay. A third level ice knife against the glowy person Madoo.
Yes, and I had advantage on that hand. I just rolled twice then because I forgot to click advantages. But 17, is that a hit?
Okay, it is. Because I'm going to say that it's an AC of 15. Because 18
then
is ridiculous when they just
gets
around.
It gets 6 damage, piercing, and needs to do a DC 15 saving throw. And they actually both need to do that DC 15 dexterity saving throw, or gets 18 cold damage.
18?
Yes, because it's 8 plus 10 for upcast.
Shiny. Dex save. They're on
That's
14.
One, no.
Yes, that is not sufficient.
Unsurprisingly, these guys aren't huge on dodging. And so this one, 6 piercing and
18.
First one takes 6 piercing, 18 cold, and the second one takes 18 cold.
It crumples into a clattering heap on the floor,
bits.
and you
So in
see
theory, when
the surface of the armour turn white as it sort of freezes over.
So in theory, we're not damaging the antique per se.
You're damaging the burglar alarm.
We will be, they will be able to polish them and put them up afterwards. Just not
Well, that depends
attach
on
them anymore.
I mean, assuming you don't whack a two-handed warhammer into the head of them, because that's going to leave a dent.
It's her town. If she wants to whack the burglar alarm, she can.
Yeah, you can always hammer it out.
Absolutely. I mean, the other guy has an anvil, so you know.
How high is this bench thingy behind me?
About knee height.
Oh, how...
The height of a comfortable bench.
I'll step over there then. Just
Okay.
a bit further away from the thingamadoos. And with that, I'm done.
All right. Garros.
I'll continue firing, I think.
Okay. Give me your rolls.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, it hits. Damage roll. Tell you what, this is no Photoshop. Let's make it bigger. Okay, so you did some damage there. You've still got one action left.
I'll continue to move a little bit backward. This.
Okay.
Yep.
You have made in your move. So Ashton.
Indeed. I am going to try out this casting on the sheet thing, see what happens. So, where am I? Oh no, I can't because I don't have that set. Oh well, okay. I am going to cast Spiritual Weapon, which is one of my new ones. Whoops, no, wrong way. So, Spiritual Weapon. That's not going to do anything.
Not this turn.
No. I'm going to go back to rolling my own dice. However, it does at least appear. So there will be a glowing scythe hovering
Nice.
in the air.
Thematically appropriate. I like it.
Thank you.
Always is kind of the point with spiritual weapon.
So it sort of waves threateningly in the face of the one that's not been hit yet and does nothing.
So basically
But
you're
it's
doing
there.
the Darth Maul spinny impressively,
Yes.
but not actually
Yeah,
doing
but
anything.
not actually doing anything. Yeah.
Do we all ooh and ah respectively?
No.
You're very welcome to.
You might have if I did hit, but I would not suggest doing it at the moment. And I'm going to move a little bit further back, but not too much further.
Okay.
Sadly, that does now mean that once it gets to their turn, the two on the side can move now.
Yes. Now, Hacrius.
This one's
I think you should take guiding bolt down.
other stones right here. Searing Smite. I know that's in close combat, isn't it?
Yep.
Do I have enough to move, cast that, and attack?
Yes, movement is one thing, and
Mhm.
casting is another. And I do believe the Searing Smite is a bonus action, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, so then you can attack on your action.
Okay, in that case, I'll be a bit bold. I'm going to move to there. Let's see if we can cast Searing Smite.
And that you just do, and then you add it on your attack.
Alright,
And if you miss, you actually still have it for a while. Since the Searing Smite sticks around until you actually hit. And then the power of it pours into the enemy.
does it just attack with weapon and add that on then?
Yeah. It basically just winds up until you earth it in someone's face.
Ooh,
Okay.
Probably not hitting on 11.
Nope.
No.
So your weapon is still fiery.
Can I ask a sort of a question?
Mm-hmm.
Why the 2 figures?
Because he rolls with advantage at the moment. Or
Basically, it's
actually-
easier to roll it that way, so you don't have to keep changing the advantage settings.
Okay.
So that if you're rolling with advantage, then you just
take
pick
them,
the higher
which are
of
the
it.
best.
If
Gotcha.
you're rolling with disadvantage, you pick the lower one. And if you're just rolling normally, you just pick the one on the left.
Thank you.
But I don't like that method because it occasionally does the wrong thing. If you actually happen to roll a crit on the second roll, it will muck up your damage roll.
That's true.
That's why I prefer to have the toggle instead. And the toggle is also more clear because it will actually grey out the wrong value.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'll ask you how to do that later. I'm not going to
Yeah.
worry now.
Right. So, Hacrius, is that you done? Or do you have any bonus actions or moves left?
No. I
Searing
moved.
bonus.
I moved, cast that, and attack, so I'm definitely out of moves.
Goody good. Then Aether.
Right, seeing as I've moved back to, what was it, 30 feet,
Mm-hmm.
I will, with my other hand, pull out my Luger and fire with that.
Okay. That hits.
12 to the same one.
Okay. You know the bit at the end of Bedknobs and Broomsticks
Yeah.
Yep.
where the German officer draws his Luger and fires several rounds directly into the face of a suit of animated armour?
Yeah, and then it empties all the rounds
Spits
out
it
of
back out at him.
Yeah.
I love
It's
that.
basically that, but it spits out 2 rounds fewer than you fired. It's not
Minus
looking
1.
well.
That ended my turn.
Okay. Now the mare is going to once again swing her big stick o' cloutiness. And that hits. And that takes this one down to 3 as well. There is damage being done.
Well, I'm happy about that.
Yep.
I am also keeping an eye on the one that is theoretically down, just in case it reassembles itself.
Now, let's start with Hacrius.
Mm-hmm.
The suit of animated armour here raises its halberd. It's got no clickable attacks. Oh, roll 20, you silly thing. It raises its halberd above its head, ready to bring it down upon your bonds. And just as it starts to swing down, you hear 3 bullets impacting the back of its armour. And
Thank you. Rice would be lovely.
it
Thank you
takes a
very
spot
much.
of damage. And it's thrown off, and it turns to glance behind it. Over here, this one steps forward.
What's happening here?
This one steps forward, and they both step out slightly. And the door here
Uh-oh.
crashes open.
That's not a good sign.
This comes again as a surprise to the mayor.
It's never ever opened before, presumably.
She thought it was carved.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Behind
A
it
pair of red glowing eyes.
is no.
Oh, good.
It's a dark corridor.
It's a
And-
Mormon.
Approaching are 2 people, and they say, "Have you heard the good news?" No.
Name disfigure!
No. It's
with prejudice!
it's a long,
My name is Elder Price.
very dark corridor, and drifting to and towards you,
Oh, God.
you see a single glowing red eye.
Oh!
Welcome.
Mother pass bucket.
I am Isembard.
Oh,
Going for the kingdom, Brunner.
And with that, we're going to leave it until next week.
well, you've learned how to do cliffhangers, I'll give you that.
Indeed.
Yeah. Swine.
So, in summary, we killed one of the suits of armor,
Yes.
Heavy
badly
damage.
damaged another,
Yeah.
and the other
Now we
two
have
are still fine.
I mean,
a
the one next to Hackers is slightly
damaged.
frosty.
Yeah. Well, damaged. But the 2 in front of the red eye coming out are the most damaged now.
Yeah. I was hoping they should stick together because I had such a lovely spell planned for them. Then they split up, the bastards.
Sorry. Sadly, my command only lasts a round.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they would mob up on the mayor because that would be helpful for me.
And a bugger for the mayor.
Well, possibly.
Okay.
Seems like a tough cookie.
I'm sure she can
I
take
do
it.
love the fact that you've now got a question mark on the other corridor as well.
Are we going
Yes.
to have an actual map for next session? Andrew?
Probably not, because I'm going to be away
yeah?
until
Away for a
Saturday
week.
Oh,
evening.
yeah.
It's okay, this works. Take a screenshot.
If anyone wants some advanced Roll20 lessons, just give me a holler. I'm too tired now to do it, but could at any other day, pretty much.
Yeah.
There are
I look
quite
forward to seeing the write-up for this one.
So do I. Anybody else want to try it for a change?
But you're so good at it.
Mine will have a lot of swear words, so
Honestly, the all of you. I was going to say the pair of you, but there are more of you out there, and you're being really quiet. Robot. Yeah, I'll think about that because a lot of that there's an awful lot of very very small notes because it's more a case of shit. I need to write. No, I don't. Okay.
I've just written Isembard is a beholder.
Well, it's his kingdom. Probably called Brunel.
And given the voice, possibly a mechanical beholder too.
Oy vey.
Make things
Even better.
interesting.
You're drawing a lot of inferences from not a lot of data.
Yes.
Sigh.
I like to share herrings.
Oh well, thank you very much, guys. That
Yeah,
was
thank
fun. Are we okay for next Sunday, or are you not going to be back in time?
Oh, I'll be back in time.
You sure?
Oh, yes.
Well, that was very definite. So
Yeah, I'll
in
be
which
back
case-
on Saturday evening.
Aha. You have a little bit of time to recover before throwing us all in again.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you again then. That's actually a very good time because apparently my food is just about ready.
And
I will speak to you all then.
have
Take
fun.
care.
Speak to you then.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. And those of you who've been in the chat, thanks for dropping by and see you next time.